Good to see you again. We're back at it. We're here. We're going to work, and we're actually going to work hard for once. We usually don't on Tuesdays. Happy Tuesday. It's the 5th day of April 2022. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Look behind me on our cross camera. You see snow at the top of Birch Mountain. That wasn't the case when we visited on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy day. Weather-wise, we're still not done with the wind yet. It's very calm and peaceful and sunny and chilly. It's 37 outside of our studios, but we still got some wind. We now have a wind advisory. We had the high wind warning yesterday, and we did have some pretty strong winds. For the record, our strongest wind gust was at 50 miles an hour out of Pangbourne. That happened at about 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Then it died down, then it picked back up again. We had another wind gust close to 50 at about 2:30 in the morning. You may have heard that or felt it. Anyway, I know I certainly did. So we're still not done with the wind yet. Passes are still getting a lot of snow. It is definitely more like early January in the Cascades than it is early April. We'll take you up to there. But you're going to want to, if you have to drive over the mountain passes today, give it a couple hours. The snow should be tapering off about noon or so, and the DOT plows can get out there and get the job done. Right now, it's not particularly pleasant in the Cascades. We have a lot of news to get to. It was a busy day in the newsroom. Sports. Jayhawks, Kansas wins the national championship. Congratulations to them. I watched the game. Very entertaining. Didn't look like they were going to pull it off, but they had a huge run against the Tar Heels in the second half. They're your national champions. Also, we'll preview in two spots Game 3 of the first round of the BCHL playoffs. Of course, the Wenatchee Wild are in an 0-2 hole to the Salmon Arm Silverbacks, but they're back here tonight and tomorrow night at the Town Toyota Center. We'll preview that with Bliss Littler, the general manager of the Wenatchee Wild, and Art Checker, the voice of the Wild. That's in the back half of the program, and a little teaser in sports, too. All right, let's get going here 2 minutes after the hour. Again, beautiful morning. Lots of sunshine, beautiful clear skies, but what caught my eye is what you see in the background. Birch Mountain, just above Sunny Slope, there is snow up there. Yeah, it's not unheard that we get snow pretty close to the valley floor this time of the year, but it's been a long time. Things are going to settle down outside of that lingering snow in the Cascades. And then we're going to be in for a pretty quiet weather pattern. We're going to get very warm by Thursday. And then another cold front is expected Friday afternoon. It's going to linger into the weekend. Those details are coming up. For the record, our high and low yesterday, 51 and 35. It was chilly. Our normal high would be 58 and low 38. Wind gust, as I mentioned before, we had a sustained winds. The strongest winds was basically between about 11 to about 2:30. It was blowing pretty consistent at about 35 miles an hour with that one gust at 50 miles an hour in the noon hour. Sunrise this morning, 6:31. Sunset tonight, 7:36. That means 13 hours and 5 minutes of daylight. Camera 2. Oh, boy. I want to say maybe Hose Landing. It's the Hose Landing camera. It's not what we're looking at. We're looking at Aniat. And places up north on your way to Chelan, and you can see there's some fresh snow in the hills overlooking the Aniat and Chelan area. That's Hose Landing on the Douglas County side of the river, and you can see Aniat for the most part on your screen there. Nice view there. I haven't used the Hose Landing camera in a while. Camera number 3. We're off to Leavenworth, and was that a little bit of snowflake? What is that? That is snow. Very light, very fluffy. Almost imperceptible, but either the Tumwater Canyon camera has a bad case of dandruff, or it's still snowing lightly up there, even though I'm seeing blue skies. Good morning, Leavenworth, the Bavarian village, as the sun is reflecting on the lens of the camera there, and you can see fresh snow in the enchantments. And camera number 4. Oh, boy. That's clouds and mountains and trees and sun. That's the Nanapoc Ridge. Up to Lake Wenatchee we go. Yesterday at this time, we couldn't use the camera because it was snowing hard up in Lake Wenatchee. That's a cool view. I like that. From the Nanapoc Ridge camera high above the Lake Wenatchee area. You can't quite make out the lake, but that's what it looks like up there. Wind gusts today, we're still going to have some. Now, we have the wind advisory, not nearly as serious as the high wind warning, but we're still not out of the woods yet. We still got the tail end of this cold front, and the jet stream is still basically centered over the state of Washington. That's not where it's supposed to be at this time of the year. It's usually up above British Columbia, but there you go. There's your wind speeds. As far as gusts are concerned, these are your peak gusts this morning and this afternoon. It's going to basically taper off as the afternoon progresses. But we're still in for a couple of rogue little whews coming through now and again this morning and this afternoon. Now, as far as mountain snow is concerned, they're still going to get a lot of snow, especially in the Cascades. Not so much in the Idaho Panhandle, but the Cascades. It's still going to snow at about 1 inch an hour until about noon today. Then it slowly tapers off, but the mountain passes are just a glucky mess, and we'll get to that in just a minute. So still a little windy today and still some snow in the mountain passes before this system finally exits the region by about sunset tonight. So from the National Weather Service, sunshine today, not particularly warm, only about 52. Our normal high this time of the year is 58. Still a little windy. A west wind about 20, 25 miles an hour, and gusts about 30 at times today, but again, it will taper off. It's calm right now. It's only, right now, the wind is out of the northwest at about 15 miles an hour, but that's up at Pangbourne. Clear tonight, below freezing for the overnight low, 30 for the overnight low. The winds will be dying down, but it'll take its sweet time doing it. Wednesday, very nice. Lots of sunshine, about 55 degrees, a few clouds, and a lot warmer on Thursday. We'll be back up into the 60s. One more day of fairly nice weather. Most of the day Friday looks nice. We'll see sunshine for the most part. And then late on Friday night into Saturday, and I mean while you're sleeping Friday night into Saturday is when this next cold front comes in. You're going to wake up with lots of clouds on Saturday morning, maybe a little bit of light rain. The clouds and the sun are going to play a little tug of war, a little hit and miss, about 57 degrees. The snow level is going to get down pretty low again Saturday night into Sunday. This is a cold front. Look at that. We're only going to get to 50 on Sunday. That is very cool for this time of the year. 34 for the overnight low. Then we're back on it on Monday with a little bit of warmer temperatures. So a gradual warming trend. Again, a little windy today with some more snow in the mountain passes, but the system will be gone by this time Wednesday. A nice little warming trend on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the next cold front comes in Friday night and will cool us down just in time for the weekend. Wouldn't you know it? Mountain passes. Don't bother right now. It's just, yeah. Stevens Pass right now, it's a traction tire requirement. It's snowing hard. It's also very hard to see where you're going. We understand visibility is quite poor. So if you're traveling on Stevens Pass right now, traction tires are required. Blewett Pass, traction tires are required. It is snowing up there. It is sticking to the roadway, and it is a chain requirement on I-90 with lots of traffic and very slow going because of, well, there's a lot of traffic and it's not very easy to get there. So, again, traction tires required on Stevens, required on Blewett. Chains are required unless you have all-wheel drive on I-90. They have a winter storm warning. It's still into effect. And for the rest of the day today, they're still going to get on I-90 about 6 inches of snow today before it tapers off about noon or 1. And on Stevens Pass, upwards of 10 inches of snow before it begins to taper off in the afternoon hours. And that's kind of going to be it for the snow until we get late into the weekend. But most of the day today is going to be winter driving conditions in the Cascades. 8 minutes after the hour, 1 minute break, and then a lot of news to get to, and we'll have it for you in 60 seconds. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
With all the variety on SureStream TV from LocalTel, there's always something to watch. But what if you hit the couch in the middle of all the shows? That's a perfect time to use the features Catch Up or Restart. Catch up on shows from up to 3 days ago, or restart your show from the beginning. Go to your guide and select the show to restart. Then play, pause, rewind on your schedule. Don't forget, SureStream TV from LocalTel lets you decide when shows begin.
Hi, I'm Katie Joslin and I'm a pediatrician at CVCH. We know that as new parents, you have a lot of decisions to make. At CVCH, we have a team of caring pediatricians and family medicine providers who love to take care of newborns. As you're making that decision of where you'd like to go, we hope that you'll consider coming to CVCH, where any of the providers you choose would care for your baby as if it was one of their own.
Lots of sunshine, 37 degrees. Not quite done with the wind yet. A little breezy at times today before we calm down. Very chilly for the overnight low tonight. Pretty cool Wednesday. We warm up on Thursday and Friday, and then cold front number 2 comes to town just in time for the weekend. It's 10 minutes after the hour. A semi-truck towing a flatbed trailer that was hauling bags of fertilizer rolled on its top late yesterday morning on McNeil Canyon. This was about 2 miles north of the Beebe Bridge. It seriously injured the driver and it shut down traffic for most of the afternoon. Douglas County Fire District number 4 reports that first responders found the semi upside down with heavy damage to the cab and its brakes on fire. The unidentified driver had to be extricated from what was left of the cab. Firefighters were able to contain the diesel and oil that leaked from the semi at the scene of the accident. The condition of the driver not known this morning. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office is investigating the cause. Wenatchee police continue to search for suspects involved in that shooting near Lincoln Park on Friday night, including one that hit a 20-year-old man in the leg. Wenatchee Police Department Captain Edgar Reinfeld said at about 10:20 Friday night, a resident in the Crawford Avenue side of the park reported hearing 10 gunshots. Police arrived. They found the injured Wenatchee man in 2 vehicles that had been hit by gunfire. Reinfeld said another vehicle had been seen leaving the area. Now, the victim was transported to Central Washington Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Reinfeld said it appears the people involved knew each other, but he is not yet ready to classify it as a gang shooting. He said police recovered multiple shell casings and at least 1 bullet. Some good economic news. Unemployment rates continue to drop. In fact, for the last 11 months, it's been going down, so we're getting pretty close to what it was before COVID in the latest report from the State Employment Security Department. Unemployment for February was at 6.2%. That's roughly comparable to the pre-COVID rate of 6% in February of 2020. Another encouraging economic sign is that the Wenatchee MSA civilian labor force in February of 2022 was just about 600 residents greater than in February of 2020. That's an indication that the local workforce is rebounding to pre-COVID levels. Meanwhile, total non-farm employment netted 3,000 more jobs than the 43,000 jobs tallied in February of last year. That's a 7% increase. In fact, the two-county Wenatchee MSA economy also tallied 1,200 more non-farm jobs in February 22 than in February of last year, an indication that the local non-farm market has recovered to levels before the pandemic. People have until April 25th to weigh in on a federal proposal to rename 18 geographical features in our state that currently contain the word squaw. That's considered a derogatory name for Native American women. The renaming process comes after a federal declaration back in November that defined the word squaw as derogatory and calling for the remaining 660 places nationwide. Well, included on the state list, Squaw Lake in Chelan County and Squaw Creek Ridge, both in Chelan and Okanagan counties. They share the border between Lake Chelan and Pateros. The Federal Department of the Interior has suggested Squaw Lake be renamed White River and Squaw Creek Ridge be renamed Black Canyon Creek. Washington State Committee on Geographic Names is accepting comments on the name changes. There's a website. It's too complicated. Just Google it. And one of my favorite burger joints in town is under new ownership, Dizzy D's. At the corner of 5th and Western, they announced over the weekend, the owners, that they have sold the popular restaurant. Jim and Dina Frazier said on social media over the weekend that their business, Dizzy D's at Western and 5th, has been sold to JJ and Janetta Coyne of Wenatchee. The Fraziers have owned Dizzy D's for the last 19 years. They thank their customers and their employers. As long as they keep cranking out them good burgers, I'm going. 14 minutes after the hour, and that's your news. On this Tuesday, we'll be gathering the news once again because we believe an informed viewer is an important part of the success of the NCW Life channel, so be sure to check out the news with Grant at 5, 6, and 10. And with the preview, here's Grant.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, more wind and unseasonably cool temperatures on tap for our Tuesday, and then above normal temperatures by the end of the week. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Grantstrom has results and reaction to last night's NCAA Men's Basketball Championship game and looks ahead to tonight's wild playoff game against Salmon Arm. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. You got a news tip, you want to drop us a note and say hi, you can go to our Facebook page and use the Messenger app. You can email us directly, news at ncwlife.com, or you can go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, and you'll see the Contact Us icon right there on our homepage. And you fill out the form. Pretty easy. Even I can do it, and I'm not very bright. After a 1-minute break, we're talking college basketball, Wenatchee Wild hockey. Mariners spring training. Remember, opening day is the day after tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel. The 2022 Grant County Fair is excited to announce country supergroup Lone Star. They'll be playing at the fairgrounds Thursday, August 18th. Friday, August 19th, it's Cameron Marlowe. And on Wednesday, August 17th, it's the tribute bands Jukebox Heroes, Barracuda, and Stone in Love. 3 of the premier tribute bands on the West Coast. VIPC tickets go on sale March 11th. The Grant County Fair, August 16th through the 20th.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see 2 things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys, and I want to see my high school. And those are the 2 memories that stick out the most to me.
16 minutes after the hour, Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk. Kansas is the national champions of collegiate basketball amongst the big schools. Big comeback, huge comeback, and a very thrilling 72-69 win over the Tar Heels. The Jayhawks are racing a 15-point halftime deficit. That's the largest in NCAA Finals history to get the victory. Kansas had 5 players in double figures, led by the 15 points and 10 rebounds of David McCormick. Congratulations to the Jayhawks and to our very own Cal Fitzsimmons, who won the office pool. Cal, don't forget, you need to report your winnings to the Internal Revenue Service. The Wenatchee Wild find themselves in a 0-2 hold in their BCHO playoff series with the Silverbacks of Salmon Arm. Game 3 of the best of 7 series tonight, 6 o'clock, down Toyota Center, right here in the big city. Wild General Manager Bliss Littler says they knew this would be a tough opening series, and he's supporting Coach Chris Clark all the way.
We knew coming into this year, as young as we were and inexperienced as we were, that we didn't want to use that as a crutch, but it is a reality that we just don't have many veteran players. And with that being said, at the end of the night, when things don't go well, that's when Chris needs to have somebody in his corner. That, again, I've lived that life, and it hurts when we lose. When I'm watching, whether I'm there or not, it still hurts. But I'm able to turn it off a little bit quicker than if I were coaching. And when you're coaching, it's this time of year, there's just no turning it off.
The Wild finished 7th in the Interior Division of the BCHL this season. Littler knew it would be a tough campaign. The Wild are the youngest team in the league. His message to Coach Clark and the team, pretty simple.
Right now, my message to him today is win one. Win Tuesday night and go from there. And then Chris will be talking to players about spend one more day with your teammates. That you say you love each other, spend fight to have one more day with them, because when the season's done, 48 hours, they give their billets a hug, their teammates a hug, and they're on the way back home until next September.
Games 3 and 4 tonight and tomorrow night at the Town Toyota Center. The voice of the Wenatchee Wild, Arch Ecker, told me he'd love to see the fan support like they did last Friday when the team headed up to British Columbia.
When the bus pulled away on Friday to go up to Salmon Arm for games 1 and 2, there was a good batch of fans that came out. It must have been, I don't know, upwards of 50, right around the 50. People that took off on a work day and made their way to come down here at 1 o'clock so that they could send the boys off with cowbells and signs and the whole thing. And the guys were just, wow, their jaws were dropping. So you channel that energy, put it in this building for games 3 and 4, and let's see the boys do what they do.
Games 3 and 4 tonight and tomorrow, 6 o'clock tonight, 6 o'clock tomorrow. Tickets available at WenatcheeWildHockey.com. By the way, it's open seating, so you can buy your tickets and sit pretty much anywhere you want to. We'll have more with Bliss and Arch in the back half of this program. The Mariners came from behind to beat Arizona in Peoria last night, 6-3, trailing 3-0 in the bottom of the 7th. Jared Kelnick brought the Mariners closer by doing this.
Ooh, look at this combination here. Giddy up, baby. Big drive, center field, and it is gone. A two-run homer for Jared Kelnick. Back-to-back days for J.K. gone large. For Kelnick, home run number 2, RBIs 5 and 6. He plays Julio Rodriguez. That's a good combo, Marco.
Hi, baby. I see you. I see you, JK.
2 outs later, David Schaefer steps up to the plate, and, well, he did this.
And he drives one left field. Got a chance, and it is gone. A 2-run homer. And the Mariners have a 4-3 lead. So young Mr. Schaefer coming up with the home run. Even the yard here with a 2-run shot.
Scott Service being patient with his offense, and now all of a sudden he has a lead, trailing 3-0 going into this inning. And here you go, fastball middle in. It's just enough of it to hit it out into the.
Steven Souza Jr. added another home run for Insurance in the 8th inning. Marco Gonzalez looked really good. He struck out 5, no walks, and 6 innings of work. Seattle's on the road to Goodyear today to take on Cincinnati at 12:05. Don't forget, opening day of the baseball season is Thursday, and Eric Granstrom brings us part 2 of his series of a local man who has high hopes as a professional boxer, but it didn't start out that way. Part 2 of the fighter who became a boxer.
I want to give my kids something that I never had, which I've never had a dad, for one, like my biological dad in my life. I've never even met the guy, you know, so I wanted to give him that first off, and then on top of that, I wanted to take him to places I've never been, like do things that I've never done before.
This is Devontae Mcdonald. His mother moved he and his siblings to the Wenatchee Valley when he was 4. He says with no dad in the picture and mom doing what she could to support the family, it left the kids to run wild.
My family, we grew up, like my brothers and sisters, we grew up taking care of ourselves pretty much. Not necessarily taking care of ourselves, but like we were always out and about, you know what I mean? Like just running the streets. So we would come in when the sun goes down, and we're back out when the sun comes up.
Growing up on the streets and hanging with the wrong crowd got Devontae into trouble. His biggest mistake put him in juvenile detention.
The only time I got in trouble with the law was for hitting the teacher. And I didn't know it was a teacher. I got expelled from school. I went to juvie. I didn't know it was a teacher, but the whole story, like he was grabbing my little brother and I didn't know what was going on. So I ran up, pushed him and hit him and knocked him out, and I got in trouble.
Devontae found himself getting into fights a lot until the day he tried to take on an MMA fighter in the street.
I was gonna fight some guy on the street and he was in that gym. That's how I started going to that gym. And he's like, oh, just come to the gym. So I went to the gym and I fought him, knocked him out, and ever since, like, ever since I had knocked him out, I went to that gym and we were cool after that. Like, and that's what kind of opened my eyes to, like, I don't have to fight people like that way, you know what I mean? So.
That's when Devontae met Mickey and Susanna White, who started their Move Boxing Club. They taught him to box instead of fight, which created a new sense of direction for Mcdonald.
I'm not one to stay and do something I don't like, you know? And so for a minute, I would stop going. Like, I would come like once a week, only because of work. And then like they would make fun of me and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna be here every day. And even when they're not here, I'm gonna be here, you know? So I started coming and just getting my road work in.
Devontae says boxing helped him clean up his life outside the ring.
I would drink on the weekends and stuff. I stopped drinking. I no longer drink. I don't do any drugs at all anymore. And I feel like it's really brought me up out of a hole that I was sitting in.
Were you feeling it in the gym if you go drink and then you go back to go work out and it's like,
I think it's a little them and me. Because like I said, if I didn't want it, then I wouldn't try for it. I'd just do me. So, I mean, it goes both ways.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And they had so much faith in me, so I seen that and I was like, okay, like I might be able to do something, you know. There's a little push and pull. Like.
Sure. Interestingly, Devontae says getting into the ring to box helped him release his anger at the world because you have to be emotionless.
I feel like it's a big difference because when you have emotions, like that clouds your judgment on what you're gonna throw, where your movement, everything, like because your mind is thinking of that emotion rather than what's at task, pretty much, and what you have to do to win the fight.
Next up, getting into the ring and facing an opponent. For NCW Life Channel Sports, I'm Eric Grandstrom.
Get to your angles. Don't just shoot the shoot. There you go. Work. There it is.
Good stuff, and best of luck. That's very good reporting there, Eric. We appreciate it. That's just some of the games that people are playing at 25 minutes after the hour. It's time for the Obscure Holiday. I had 7 to choose from. Today is First Contact Day. It's National Flash Drive Day. It's National Go for Broke Day. It's National Read a Roadmap Day. I remember the road trips I took in my youth, and you would bring an atlas with you, a beat-up, dog-eared, marked-up atlas. That's how you figured out where you were going. Now you just use your phone. National Raisin and Spice Bar Day. Today is National Caramel Day, but we're going to celebrate the pizza pie known as the National Deep Dish Pizza Day. Almost everybody all the research I've done, it is part of Chicago. There are about 6 different pizza joints in Chicago who all claim to be the inventor of deep dish pizza. It was born in Chicago. Who gets credit? I don't know. And there are some pizza aficionados who don't really consider deep dish pizza a real pizza because it's got so much stuff on it. It's got so much pizza sauce and cheese and everything, and they think it's more like a tomato pie than it is a pizza. The thing about a deep dish pizza, if you get a big one, you have a lot of people around. I mean, one piece of deep dish pizza will fill up most people. If you like your pizza big and gooey and cheesy but tons of stuff on it, by golly, today is your day. National Deep Dish Pizza Day. Enjoy. None for me. I'm working. Today in history, at 27 minutes after the hour, a friendly reminder that the Mayflower did eventually go home. We lose track of that stuff. The Mayflower and the Pilgrims that came over, they landed in Plymouth in the late summer of 1620. Hung around all winter, and then on April 5th, 1621, 401 years ago, the Mayflower said, well, see ya. And they took off from Plymouth, Massachusetts to head back to England. Since they didn't have anything in the ship, they took a bunch of rocks from the shore at Plymouth Harbor and put it in the bottom of the ship for ballast, just so it wouldn't bounce all over the place. And not surprisingly, because it was so light and they had the winds in the right direction, when they went from England to Massachusetts, they were fighting the winds the whole way. It was an awful, terrible ride. It's amazing they even made it. But going back from Massachusetts to England, it's a piece of cake. They had the wind at their back. They up the sails to go. It took them half the time to get from Plymouth, Massachusetts to England. So not bad. Yeah, just a friendly reminder. The Mayflower just didn't hang around. They eventually, hey, we got work to do. We got to head back to England. It left for home on this date 401 years ago today. April 5th, 1958, 64 years ago today, Ripple Rock, which is in the Seymour Narrows, is between British Columbia and Vancouver Island, ships kept hitting it. Ripple Rock was an underwater mountain that had 2 peaks. One was only 9 feet below the water surface. The other peak was 21 feet below the surface in the Seymour Narrows and the Discovery Passage, and ships kept hitting it and sinking. And they said, well, we got to do something about this. And so you know what they did? They blew it up. It was the largest non-nuclear controlled explosion ever at that time. They blew off the top of the 2 peaks. The one that was 9 feet is now 45 feet underwater, and the peak that was 21 feet below the surface is now 50 feet below the surface. That's a pretty incredible engineering feat. They just blew up the top of the mountain, and that way ships wouldn't run into it. I mean, think about that. Only 9 feet below the surface of the water. That's, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to hit it. So on this date, 64 years ago in 1958, they simply blew off the top of the mountain, and everything's fine. And finally, if you suffer from gyphrophobia or something like that, you don't want to deal with this baby. This is a big, long bridge. April 4th, 1998, 24 years ago in Japan, the Akashi Keikyo Bridge opened to traffic. It has the largest central span of any suspension bridge in the world. How long is it between the 2 support columns? It's 1.25 miles between the two support columns. By comparison, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco Bay is about half that. That's a long trip over the bridge. The longest suspension bridge in the world, opened for traffic on this date in 1998. And at the bottom of the hour, birthdays. It's remarkable. 3 Hollywood legends all share the same birthday, including Spencer Tracy, who was born 122 years ago today, one of the major stars of Hollywood's golden age. He was nominated for 9 Academy Awards for Best Actor and won 2. That's pretty impressive. The legendary Spencer Tracy, who died shortly after making his final movie in 1967. Bette Davis, the first female president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. She won 2 Academy Awards for Best Actress, was the first person ever to be nominated for 10 Academy Awards in acting. Bette Davis, born in the state in 1908, and the great Gregory Peck, also born on this date in 1916. Of course, he won the 1962 Oscar for Best Actor for playing Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. Gregory Peck, Bette Davis, and Spencer Tracy, all born on April 5th. Must have been in the stars. 31 minutes after the hour, a break and opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty. And then we're talking wild hockey. It's time for the comeback. And we can do it here tonight and tomorrow night with Seminar coming into our gym, so to speak. Bliss Littler and Arch Ecker from the Wild join me next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
The Wenatchee Valley. Here, most of us really enjoy the great outdoors, and most of us try to make the most of our natural resources. Here at Apple Valley Honda, we know that for generations, we have harnessed nature to sustainably power the West, and we are proud to be part of that tradition as an environmentally green dealership award winner. Being a green dealership means Apple Valley Honda has reduced our overall environmental impact, reduced our total energy output, and we have found better ways to repurpose our resources. Our smart dealership was built with sustainability in mind from the ground up, meaning no wasted power, water, or other precious resources. In this beautiful valley, we live here, we work here, we play here, and we are here to serve you, whether it's taking care of our environment or providing you with a new or used vehicle or servicing your current one. We are proud to be a green dealership, and at Apple Valley Honda, we are so proud to live in this wonderful community.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units. There are so many possibilities for you to learn local right here at Wenatchee Valley College. Take classes towards a degree or certificate in more than 50 areas of study. Wenatchee Valley College now offers a large variety of virtual classes, including labs, sign language, music, and machining, and they have the resources to help you succeed in virtual classes. So when a college degree is your goal, learn local at Wenatchee Valley College.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
This is Mike Mad Dog McDonald, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Listen to me! Now, how do you feel about the fact that social media has basically replaced due process as described in the Constitution? Now, why bother with facts and evidence? Why should we take the time to allow for a trial and let a defendant face their accuser? You're a moron. What's the point of making sure a defense attorney has the opportunity to question witnesses and offer exculpating testimony? I mean, can't we just watch 30 seconds of a Facebook video recorded by some random person's cell phone? I mean, why bother with the Constitution? This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty,
I want you to stop getting hysterical over nothing.
and that's my opinion.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow. We have live bands to rock the night away, comedy to make you laugh, and if that's not enough, we have poker every Monday and Wednesday night. Club Crow in Cashmere has it all. Check out our Facebook event page for dates and times. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a four-letter word.
I think we should hire more people.
Doc, I'm late for a meeting. I'm thinking of starting my own practice.
Do it. Too much capital.
We need a warehouse.
I can't imagine how we do that.
We should knock that wall down and expand.
Do it. There's always another wall beyond the wall.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're here in the Loge area of the Town Toyota Center. Yeah, it's dark right now, but later on tonight for Game 3 of the Best of 7 series against the Salmon Arm Silverbacks. And joining me for the first time in a long time, in fact, the last time Bliss Liller was on this show, he was the coach. Now he's the general manager. Bliss, thanks for sitting down and taking some time on this Tuesday and visiting with me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to be here and be able to fill in for Chris.
Yeah, Chris and the coaches are sleeping in, and that's fine. They deserve that.
I got to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
There is 0 chance Chris is getting any sleep right now. Yeah. None. As a 30-year coach, this time of year, especially we didn't have our best efforts. He might have caught an hour of sleep on the bus, and if he is in bed, he's tossing and turning. But I expect that.
As a coach, you've been in this situation before. You're down 2 games to none. It happened against the Rivermen, I think, a couple of years ago. You ended up winning the Fred Page Cup. So what's advice for Chris? Are you stepping in and helping him out a little bit, or are you just going to let him kind of stew on this a little bit and get ready for Game 3?
Oh, we talk after every game. And I try to diffuse the situation a little bit for him, that try to make it, I don't want to say lighter, because he's a coach, and that, first thing, you got to move players on to college and you got to win games. And we knew coming into this year, as young as we were and inexperienced as we were, that we didn't want to use that as a crutch, but it is a reality that we just don't have many veteran players. And with that being said, at the end of the night, when things don't go well, that's when Chris needs to have somebody in his corner. That, again, I've lived that life, and it hurts when we lose. When I'm watching, whether I'm there or not, it still hurts. But I'm able to turn it off a little bit quicker than if I were coaching. And when you're coaching, it's this time of year, there's just no turning it off.
And it's supposed to hurt when you lose in the playoffs at any time, but especially in playoffs, you're supposed to feel like garbage, and if you don't, then you got a problem.
Yeah. Again, this team's, if you would have told me that we're going to win 22 games at the start of the year, I'd say I'll take it. As young as we were, so I think we've done a good job that way. We're playing a really good hockey team in Salmon Arm, and Chris has worked with many good coaches over his career, and right now, Chris, he'll just draw on either what he's learned as a player or the coaches that he's worked for. And Chris is a student of the game. I mean, he's always trying to get better, and you know what? There's nobody in that locker room that cares more than him and Tom and Lee. That those three guys that live and die together, and if you just hope the players care as much as that staff does, and so that when Chris calls it after a game like last night, it's you got to get the ponies to run.
You do.
You got to get the ponies to run, and if they don't, there's not much you can do. And I know we had another concussion the night before, and so we're a little depleted right now. But basically, I just want to pump them back up and let them know that I'm behind you.
How does that work? I mean, where's the transition from? I mean, you coached forever, were successful everywhere you went. Now you're a general manager. Where's the gray area there between you and Chris? At what point do you let Chris be Chris and coach without stepping too much on his toes from that perspective? Is it a fine line?
Yeah, I think so. Coaching, you have to at this level. If you don't move players onto college, players aren't going to want to play for it. Like a kid in Minnesota right now, or a kid in LA, or wherever, they don't care about the banners up here. They really don't. They care what are you going to be able to do for me? How are you going to help get me to college? How are you going to help get me taken in the NHL draft? How are you going to develop me? And then he's got the fan base, and you have to win a certain amount of games. And in Wenatchee, since the Paul Baxter days, we've always been very fortunate here that we've been able to put good teams together, and I'm really proud of the group that Chris put together. You got to remember that border wasn't open, so those older kids from the North American League or the USHL, they weren't coming here. So we put this thing together with really young hockey players, inexperienced hockey players. So again, I expect a giant rebound next year. I completely expect that we'll be a team that earns home ice advantage in the playoffs, and this should be a team that a year from now should be able to go far in the playoffs. But right now, my message to him today is win one. You know, win Tuesday night and go from there. And then Chris will be talking to players about spend one more day with your teammates. That you say you love each other, spend fight to have one more day with them, because when the season's done, 48 hours, they give their billets a hug, their teammates a hug, and they're on the way back home until next September.
And we don't want them to go home for till late May, if we can possibly make that work.
Yeah, let's find a way to win Tuesday night, and then we'll worry about Wednesday on Wednesday. And we get her back to 2-2, then that saying about you don't have a series until the visiting team wins, we're right back in it. Now, then we're in a best of three, and you got to play a lot of mind games with yourself, and when you're down 2-0. But I'm not giving up on this group yet. I think we still have some good hockey left in us.
I agree 100%. Speaking of good hockey, this has been my observation. Of course, way back when the Wenatchee Wild was in the North American Hockey League, transitioning to the British Columbia Hockey League gave us any number of advantages. Reasonable road trips, no long plane flights to California or up to Alaska or out to the Midwest. You can hop on the bus and you're there. And I think, from my perspective, the British Columbia Hockey League, to me, is better hockey than it was in the North American Hockey League. That's my observation. Your thoughts, Coach, on that?
Yeah. Again, you can argue either side to that, but for the most part, there's the high, in my opinion, the higher end player, the kid that gets drafted in the National Hockey League, the player that goes to college and is a All-American or All-League player. There are more of those players that come out of the BCHL than the North American League. For the most part, the Canadian kid he wants basically a full scholarship before he says yes. A lot of times in the United States, if the kid's not playing in the best league, which is the United States Hockey League, he's playing in the Tier 2 league, which is the North American Hockey League, which is an outstanding league. And they're doing an amazing job moving players on to play Division I hockey also. But the American kid is more likely to go to school, because he's going to go to school anyways. It's a little bit cheaper for the American kid to pay for college than being an out-of-country, an international student. So I kind of think that the high-end players a little better than the...
And it should be pointed out, the British Columbia Hockey League is stable, number one,
Yeah.
and number two, and this is just as important, it's expanding, it's growing.
Yes.
They're adding teams all the time. There are other leagues that are retracting. That's not happening in the British Columbia Hockey League.
No, not right now. We've got amazing leadership in Chris Hebb right now. And I think the ownership, since we've come into the league, where I think David White came in and the league was excited to have him, that they looked at him as an absolute rock star. But since David coming in, we've had 4 or 5 sales in my opinion. The quality of owner coming in has really upped the value of the league.
We're almost out of time, Bliss Littler. I'm going to give you the last word because I really get to see you. That's your camera right there. Give the fans a pep talk for games 3 and hopefully 4 and hopefully 6 and 7 as we continue to tackle the Silverbacks. It's up to you, Bliss. Take it home.
You know, why not us right now?
Right,
why
there
not?
you go.
Why not us? That win game 3. All the pressure goes back to Salmon Arm for them to win game 4. And again, over the years, not too many teams have had a better home record than we've had in this building, and a lot of that's the fan support and the building that we play in. So let's take care of game 3 here Tuesday night. Take care of that, and then we'll go to work on game 4.
Bliss Littler, the general manager of the Wenatchee Wild, joining us again, games 3 and 4 tonight and tomorrow night at the Town Toyota Center. Get your tickets now. Arch Ecker will join us when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
It's going on 4 decades of doing business in the Wenatchee Valley. And I want people to know that it matters. It matters to me that people choose to do business with us. It matters that people trust us, trust us. That matters more than anything.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks to General Manager Bliss Littler for joining us. He needs to come on more often. This guy cannot come on more enough. We can't get enough of the lovely and talented Arch Ecker, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. We're down 0-2, Arch. We've talked about this with Bliss, but all is not lost. This team has a history coming back from 0-2 deficits. Hockey itself lends itself to comebacks from being deficit. There's been a long history of being down 2-0 or 3-0. This team's not dead by a long shot.
No, not at all. You know, and if you look on paper, you just see, you know, a couple of big scores. We lost 6-3, 6-2. If you go back to the first half of the game 1, and the Wild were doing everything right. You know, they had built themselves a 2-0 lead. They were forechecking hard. They were, you know, taking care of the puck in the neutral zone. But something happened, and the momentum started to swing, and Vernon capitalized on it. Or not Vernon, Salmon Arm. My mind was going back to the last 0-2 deficit. Salmon Arm, they capitalized on it. And, you know, they're a good team. They're the number 2 seed in the BCHL. And really the only reason that they didn't push Penticton a little harder was they struggled a little bit in the month of May. And they were never able to put 2 wins back-to-back the entire month of March. And they ended up going like 3-4-2. And so they ended up slipping. Penticton ended up with the number 1 seed. But we're talking about a very, very good Salmon Arm team. They're an older team. And you know what? But the Wild should have every reason to know that they can skate with them and they can handle it. When we were there on March 12th in the regular season, we ended up winning that game 5-4 in a shootout. We were up 4-1 with, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes left to go in the game. And they got a couple of lucky bounces, pulled a goalie, tied it up. But you know what? All of that just kind of serves to remind the Wild that, you know what? I don't care how good this team is or how many games they won. We know that when we're playing our game, that we are right there. If you can play your game for 60 minutes, and I know Coach Clark bangs that drum a lot because it's victimized us a few times this year where we've played well for most of the game, but slacked off just enough to cost us a game, whether it be, you know, maybe the first 10 minutes we didn't come out ready and then buckled down the rest of the way, but it wasn't enough. Or if you get up to a lead and then it kind of slips away from you. You know what? It's a tough battle, right? I mean, it's sports and it's you know, young men playing it, but the Wild have every reason to be confident. And not only that, they're coming home to this building here where, you know, historically they've been very strong. And you know what? I mean, it's funny because there was the Prince George broadcaster was here, and this was right around New Year's. And that particular night, I think we played on a Thursday. And, you know, Thursdays aren't our better crowds. Friday and Saturdays tend to be better for sure. But, you know, when there were still mask mandates and vax card mandates, and so the attendance wasn't anywhere near what we're used to here in Wenatchee. But even with that smaller sized crowd, their announcer came down to me, because I was sitting over in the wedge with Bliss, and he says, man, I got to tell you, he goes, this atmosphere in this building, he goes, I'll put it up against anybody in the league. It's insane. And it really is, because the people here are passionate about their team. Now, are we selling 4,000 seats a night? No, but you know what? I mean, we put 2,000 in here, and then sure, the place is only 40% capacity, right? And you put 2,000 in Prince George, and they're busting at the seams. So, you know, 2,000 is a great number. It's a really good number. We get a good, strong base of fans that are passionate about their Wild, have been for years. You know, they're the ones that are wearing the jerseys that they've bought at auctions. And, you know what, you get that kind of energy going, and the boys feed off of it. There's no question. They talk about it. We had, when the bus pulled away on Friday to go up to Salmon Arm for games 1 and 2, there was a good batch of fans that came out. It must have been, I don't know, upwards of 50, right around the 50. People that took off on a work day and made their way to come down here at 1 o'clock so that they could send the boys off with cowbells and signs and the whole thing. And the guys were just, wow, their jaws were dropping. So you channel that energy, put it in this building for games 3 and 4, and let's see the boys do what they do.
Home playoff hockey is totally different from being on the road. There's a natural disadvantage you have from being on the road and playing a team as good as Salmon are. Does this team understand the importance of winning tonight, getting out at an early lead, checking, playing 60 minutes, and getting this to a 2-1 game? Did they get it?
Well, if they haven't, they've got some pretty recent experience to draw from to make sure they've got it. But, you know, the other thing to remember is, you know, 7-game series, that's not something a lot of these kids have been through. You know, obviously Quinn Emerson and Hunter Hastings are the two guys that went through it with us a couple of years ago. But other than that, you got a lot of, you know, high school players. They don't have 7-game series. The AAA players, they don't have that kind of thing. So, you know, like Bliss had mentioned, talking about, you know, sometimes you got to play mind games with yourself a little bit and just get yourself in the right mindset. And, you know, some of the guys don't know how to do it yet because they haven't lived it. And so, you know, there's always that battle. But when you've got the leadership like Quinn Emerson being a captain, and when you've got Clarkie, Lee, and Ruddy in the locker room to say, boys, look, this is where we're at, and this is how we're going. You know, I think the message is clear, and I think they'll get it because they've responded in the past in other games over the course of the regular season where they've had a bad night. It's like, guys, we need 60 minutes. That first shift matters. Every shift matters. And, you know, and they've responded. So do they know how to do it? Absolutely. Do they sense the gravity of where they're at in this series? Oh, I'm sure they do. Are they excited to be playing here in front of the home folks? Absolutely. Sleeping in your own bed? Man, you got to love that. That does count for sure. But I think the energy is even more than anything else, because you can't help but get a little tingle in the arms, you know, when you're standing out there and the fans are going nuts.
It's playoff hockey is different. It's as simple as that. The excitement just isn't in the air. It kind of is the air, and you can be a part of that, folks. 6 o'clock tonight, 6 o'clock tomorrow night here at the Town Theater Center. Get your tickets. Come down and cheer them on. Again, 6 o'clock is when they drop the puck, so you got plenty of time to do whatever it is you need to do. Grab a bite to eat, get down here, and let's turn this series around, Arch.
You know what? And the tickets are just $13 for anywhere in the bowl, anywhere you want to sit. First come, first serve. So if you want to sit in one of those nice VIP cushy seats with the drink holder in your arm, or if you want to get down on the glass, it's first come, first serve. So you just call the office at 888-7825 or visit tickets.wenatcheewildhockey.com. Piece of cake, and you come in here and you'll be part of a story that you'll be talking about with your friends for some time.
And let's have game 6 back here, too.
Let's do it. That'll be Saturday night. Yep.
Arch, it's always good to see you, my friend.
And you as well.
We'll visit one way or the other. We're going to visit next week. Deal?
Okay, but I think there's a breakfast involved in there.
There is. I owe him breakfast, and I'll get you a breakfast. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
2 and 2.
NCW Life Channel is your local TV station. We provide the latest news from around North Central Washington weeknights at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock with Grant Olson. If it's happening in your neighborhood, we have you covered with a staff of reporters who are always on call. Grant will also keep you up to date on the latest weather, and Eric Grandstrom covers sports. It's all on your local TV station, the NCW Life Channel.
The 2022 Grant County Fair is excited to announce country supergroup Lone Star. They'll be playing at the fairgrounds Thursday, August 18th. Friday, August 19th, it's Cameron Marlowe. And on Wednesday, August 17th, it's the tribute bands Jukebox Heroes, Barracuda, and Stone in Love. 3 of the premier tribute bands on the West Coast. VIP seat tickets go on sale March 11th. The Grant County Fair, August 16th through the 20th.
Spring is more than just a time to clean. It's your time to renew, recharge, and spend time with the people you love. At Merry Maids, our cleaning services go beyond the basic services and provide you with a comprehensive clean that will re-energize your home and enhance your life. From everyday routine cleaning or deep cleanings, Merry Maids professional team members can provide you with an unrivaled experience. Call Merry Maids to schedule your cleaning today.
Watch Vibrant Living, brought to you by the Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center. Find out about programs and activities for ages 50 and over, and meet amazing seniors who contribute to our community. New episodes Sundays at 1:30 p.m., replayed throughout the week on the NCW Life Channel. Get your body moving. Tune in for Vibrant Motion, featuring low-impact aerobics hosted by Connie Townsend. These workouts are great for all ages. Vibrant Motion, brought to you by the Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center, weekdays on the NCW Life Channel.
And we are back here to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We had a high wind warning yesterday. Now we have a wind advisory. It's still going to be a little breezy at times today, not nearly as windy as it was yesterday. Quick little slide to show for you. This is the wind gust forecast. The winds will be done for the most part by late this afternoon, but we're still going to deal with some windy conditions today. Not as bad as it was yesterday. We had a couple of rogue gusts at 50 miles an hour yesterday. Not quite as windy, but still. Things are going to die down. And more mountain snow. Boy, right now, it's just coming down hard. It's still a chain requirement on I-90 right now. Traction tires are advised on Stevens and on Blewett, and they are getting a lot of snow. But the good news there is the snow should be tapering off by noon or 1 o'clock. But between now and then, it's still going to be a lot of snow. And they still have a winter storm warning in effect until 5 o'clock this afternoon for the mountain passes. So it's going to be winter driving condition up there. In the meantime, what are we looking at? Lots of sunshine, a little on the windy side, and a high of 52, 30 for the overnight low tonight. It's cold for this time of the year. Gradual warming trend to 55, mid-50s, still below normal, but nicer on a Wednesday, and we'll be done with the wind by this time tomorrow. Thursday, warmer still with a couple of passing clouds. One more pretty nice mild day on Friday, and then Friday night, late Friday night while we're sleeping, is the next cold front, as we're going to see the breezes pick up a little bit, chance of showers increasing, and cooler temperatures on Saturday and especially on Sunday as another cold front visits us here in the Wenatchee Valley. And that's it for us. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Chapter.